right, welcome back, everybody, to another show of Flyway Connections. Like always, my name is Chris. I'm here with my buddy Joe. Joe?
Hey, how you guys doing this evening? So today, our special guest we have on the show is Felicia Marie of Women of the Wild Outdoors. Hey, how you doing today, Felicia?
I'm doing well. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, not too bad. Thank you for being on the show. So for me, always, the first topic before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show, hey, how was your waterfowl season this year?
Actually, this season was really great. Traveled all over the place, did a lot here in Michigan. Started it off with our early goose and laid quite a few down. Also traveled out to Oklahoma for sandhill crane, and then came back to Michigan and finished it off with our split and then late goose.
Nice. So I was actually, the listeners who just getting to know you and our new listeners, I was actually looking at, and if y'all look up on her social media, Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, it's kind of intimidating. She, exactly what she is, a woman of the wild. You bow hunt, you fish, you hunt big game, small game, waterfowl, pheasant. I mean, you're just a jack of all trades when it comes to outdoors. Now, here's one thing. I know we're a waterfowl podcast, but we do, I mean, me and Joe's was a big pheasant hunter for a long time. He's a dove hunter. And then I did big game for a long time too. So we're not just waterfowlers, but waterfowl is something that we've all kind of catered to and kind of gravitated to just because of the waterfowl therapy that we've talked about. Now, as far as all these different hunting outdoors activities, do you have a specific one that you typically cater to or kind of lean towards? Or is there something that just reminds you of the, I don't know, the young days or something like that?
My go-to, like my favorite is honestly turkey hunting. It's the challenge.
Nice.
So my entire year revolves around my turkey season. Like this year I have 6 tags and 5 stakes. I actually leave Tuesday for Texas. So
oh, nice. My state.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm in North Texas. Where are you hunting at?
We're going to Barksdale.
Barksdale?
Yep.
Okay. Was that Southwest?
Yes. Yeah. It's a women's group called Untamed, and we're teaming up. I think there's 6 females going. We're doing ram, hog, and turkey. So we'll be there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I'll be there for about 5-6 days hunting all 3, the big slam of them all.
You got to do that Texas Black Hawk minigun hog hunt. Have you seen that yet? Huh?
Is that out of the helicopter?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing. We've actually had a couple of people on the show that talked about it. And I personally haven't done it, but just assuming just taking out hogs with a minigun is somewhat thrilling a little bit for some people. But so I guess before we get into it, let's kind of get to know you, kind of get to know organizations you're affiliated with, how you started, kind of give us a background of your childhood and getting into the outdoors, who got you into it, and what kind of drove you to pursue going towards hunting and bringing more women out to the outdoors, because I think that's amazing. Before you never mind, I'll let you go ahead and do your spill, and I'll let you know. I had a side kind of conversation about it, but go ahead.
Okay, so I'll just start from the beginning. I grew up on the Great Lakes. I started out fishing from the time I could hold a pole in my hand. Didn't really have the opportunity to hunt. My dad hunted before I was born, but he had 3 girls, so it was always just he would involve us where he could, and fishing was always his. But he kind of fell out of hunting when he had 3 girls. And as I got older, I turned out to be the son he never had. And one day I just was like, I saw, Fred Bear on TV, and I was like, I want to do that. I want to shoot a bow. And I didn't actually get into hunting until I was in my teenage years. And it was something that I just pursued on my own. My parents were super supportive of me wanting to do it. And I kind of picked the brains of anyone and everyone that I could. It was a lot of times it was my buddies' dads through high school. And they would take me out. I learned what to do, what not to do. But a lot of times, I mean, I was probably 17 when I first started hunting, and everything's been pretty much solo hunts. I've gone out with friends and stuff like that to get more involved. But for the most part, any hunting that I've done has been solo. And I started with small game. I started with squirrels and rabbits. Progressively, you know, it grew into whitetail. And then from there, it just kept exploding and I kept getting more and more involved. It's just been a heck of a ride. And so 2 years ago, I decided I was kind of sick of like the solo hunting or always being like the only female out there. So I said, there's gotta be other women out there like me. There has to be. And I use social media as that platform. And I never was one to like post photos of my harvest. I was never one to like be super active on social media. Like I didn't even have an Instagram till last year. Didn't have TikTok. I didn't even know what it was. And I started getting involved with more organizations with how much I am in the outdoors. And they kind of pushed me. One of the first was actually an organization called South Slope, and they're about getting veterans, ill youth, and women in the outdoors. And I paired up with them and I became an ambassador for them. And they just kept pushing me like, you need to do more. You need to do more. And then that would have been in March of last year. And by June, I had started Women of the Wild. And Women of the Wild is an organization with a mission to get more women properly educated and provide opportunities in the outdoors. So we sell merchandise. We have a lot of really funny t-shirts. I know the viewers can't see me, but like we have this one. It's a duck call. But we sell a lot of like the funny, pun intended shirts. And then all of those proceeds go towards the educational courses, which we try to do at little to no cost to these women. But getting women in the outdoors is so important because like I know here in Michigan, our conservation tags, like our hunting tags have plummeted. And the more people we get involved, the better it's going to be for our conservation. Well, usually when you get a female involved, they're going to bring their kids. So you're getting like, it's kind of like a two for deal. You're getting more youth involved too. Cause you know, I'm not against men like that, but a lot of times when men go out, it's kind of their thing. And I know plenty of guys that get youth out, but it seems like the more women get involved, the more youth keep getting involved. Like it becomes the whole family. And so that's been like our main target is, you know, women getting out there and like the mom getting hunts to get their kids out there with them. And, from there, I teamed up with Untamed Outdoors, who has a mission in veterans, women, and youth. Teamed up with Her Wildlife. Her Wildlife is an organization for getting female veterans, healthcare workers, first responders, and law enforcement in the outdoors. We provide hunting and fishing trips for them, kind of for like that mental reset that these people have gone through things that like are unimaginable. So to be able to provide opportunities to them and have that camaraderie built, it's really something special. Like getting out there, we took a bunch of women out to Wisconsin on a pheasant hunt. And it was it's one of the most memorable hunts that I think I've been on. It's just, you get that camaraderie going and it's unlike anything else. It's really cool. But yeah, that my hunting just kind of, it was something I was just devoted to doing and I just did it. I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah. And honestly, I think that's amazing. So what I was going to say is, so we actually had I don't know if you heard the show. We actually had a couple of girls, good friends of ours, Chelsea and Haley. They're big waterfowlers down here in Louisiana, and they also, I mean, basically the same thing you're doing. And I love that, they get out there as women. And I guess the biggest thing is too, is I never really thought about it, just honestly, until I had girls. My first daughter was a girl and my middle child's a girl. So, taking them out fishing, they love it. Waterfowl hunting. I've gone with Joe. We've gone some hunting with the kids and stuff, and they've loved it. So I think for me personally, I think that's something that I really enjoy because let's say duck calling competitions or something like that, predominantly male. Now there is females out there, and I've seen it, and I show my daughter videos of that, and it kind of like, you see this twinkle in her eyes, like, oh wow, I can do it too, So And I think that's really good that you're trying to get out there and reach for them. And I commend you on that. Now, I guess the other question that I do have, what got you into, or how did you get into waterfowl, and who did you kind of link up with it as far as waterfowl?
Yeah. So, it's been something I've always wanted to do. Grew up on the Great Lakes. It's a huge part of our community. Like, we have a huge waterfowl festival here. One of the big Ducks Unlimited chapters is out here. So it's always been something that's, been around, but I've never had anybody to go with. So I actually didn't start waterfowl until last year. Last year was my first waterfowl season.
Oh, wow.
I told one of my buddies, like, I don't care what it takes. I want to get out here. And I've been begging for years to be able to go. And a lot of people are like, there's got to be opportunities. And it can be very challenging and difficult for a woman to get invited out in the field. You almost have to earn your spot. And they brought me out, and I just hit the ground running, and it never stopped. And, started challenging myself more. Scheduled the trip for Oklahoma, and we went and did Sandhill Cranes down in Gate, Oklahoma, and that was fantastic. We actually have one scheduled for next February, for snow geese in Arkansas. Like, I don't know. Nice. I have become obsessed is the best way to put it. And it was like that early goose season back in September. Like, so the very first day I went goose hunting, I shot a Canada goose with a black band, and my buddy that was with me, it was just the two of us out hunting that day over a tilled cornfield. And he's like, man, that's, if you're not addicted, that's going to get you there.
Yeah.
But I mean, just the two of us, and we laid almost a limit down of our birds. And in just a late afternoon hunt, we sat all morning that morning and didn't have any birds come in, but it wasn't even about the birds. It was about being out there in the field. And I was just addicted the moment I stepped into that field.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I kind of have the same story. I didn't grow up waterfowling. Joe was actually the person that got me into it, and I got addicted and spent a lot more money than I should have that first season. So, so as far as your experience, you said it was your first season last year. How did it go? Like, how was the experience for you? What did you see different from waterfowl hunting and, let's say, big game or small game or even pheasant hunting? What did you see different?
Oh man, it's a completely different demon in itself. I don't even think you compare, big game or small game or anything with it. It's brutal. It's challenging.
Yeah.
I know in December for the first part of our split, like, I'll rewind. So September, it was like really, really hot. So it was super challenging to know like what to wear, be comfortable out there. The bugs were really bad. Like, at one point in time, we had bees that were so bad in the corn. But then, like, in the split in December, and in January for the split, it was like bitter cold. I mean, we were a single temp, snow, rain. I was fully invested. We sat out on, I believe it was Thanksgiving. We sat out all day until it was time to go in for dinner. The split, it was bitter cold, high winds. It's just a completely different beast. It's really mentally challenging as well as physically challenging. I wouldn't compare it to anything else. Like, I hunt pheasants and things like that, like other type of bird, upland birds. That's not even the same. You can't compare them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest thing, I don't know if you can agree, but the fact that when you're waterfowl hunting, you're working as a team. At least that's like the biggest thing that we've always kind of discussed. I don't know how. I'm pretty sure if you're waterfowl hunting with experienced waterfowlers, sorry, that was my ESPN. It's kind of the same thing. Everybody had kind of their role. Did you see that was kind of working as a team to get that common goal?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everything from, getting the boat to where you need it to be, or where, setting the field up together, laying your groupings out. I mean, everything, you're working together as a team. And then once you're out there and, if you're out in the boat after you've like thrown your decoys, I mean, it's all a team effort, pulling them in, everything. Even calling the shots, like, picking who's going to call the shots. That's something kind of unlike any other type of hunting. Like, I mean, not to compare it to pheasant hunting, but when you're out in the field, you see a bird, you pop. But when you're waterfowl, you wait for your call guy to call, like tell you when to call the shots and
take them.
And to take them. And it's definitely a team effort. It's really hard to compare it to anything else just because of how different it is. But it's its own beast, and it's definitely a team effort from start to finish. I mean, from getting the boat out there to pulling it. It's a group of communication.
So I know you just started. So have you been? And this is something even I have trouble with. And there's a lot of waterfowlers that they can go out there, they can shoot a bird, they can pull a jerk string, they can put decoys out. But calling has always been something that's it's something that really takes practice to get into and get decent at. Obviously, there's other things you can use easier, like a whistle or a double reed, kind of more forgiving or something like that. But I guess we all know you kind of linked up with Stump from RMC calls.
Mm-hmm.
Have you kind of practiced, or are you watching videos, or is there something that you think you're getting any good? Or I mean, because I'll be honest, I'll blow a call, and Joe would just tell me to pick up the whistle. So it's one of those things.
I got 2 kids, and they will tell you I drive them absolutely crazy because I'll be driving in the car and I practice. I sit on the couch and I practice. I'll sit on the porch and just practice. Like it's definitely, I'm the type of person that if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do all of it. And calling has been very challenging to learn, especially for me. Like I told you, I'm super big into turkey. So I use a lot of diaphragm calls. When I first started learning how to call, I noticed the biggest mistake I was making was trying to channel my calls like I do with a diaphragm call, opposed to like blowing into a call. That was my biggest thing to overcome. But I linked up with Arnhem Custom Calls, and he actually sent us a bunch of calls to raise funding for our Women of the Wild. And one of the calls, like honestly, his calls, I have a whole slew of calls on my lanyard, but his calls were probably one of the easiest that I've used. And it's just a single reed acrylic call. It's the 410 model, and to me, I feel like it's the best one I've gotten sound out of. I'm not by no means a professional, a master, or anything like that, but I call all the time. Like it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I can be driving in the car, sitting here, working away or whatever. And I work from home, so I'll be sitting here working. If I'm not on a phone call, I'll still practice. And if my hands are free, I'm practicing that call.
Yeah, that's kind of.
What's that?
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I was saying 410 usually what stays on my lanyard. Chris always makes fun of me. He says I'm a call collector.
Yeah.
But I said every call I own has seen a lanyard and has had birds killed over them. But you're from being up there from Michigan. Was your first hunt in Michigan?
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Field goose was my very first waterfowl.
Oh, so a field goose hunt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what other states have you hunted besides Michigan?
For waterfowl, it's been Michigan and Oklahoma. We're expanding that next year. I'm super excited.
Okay. Yeah. If you've ever found your way down here to Louisiana, let me know. We'll get you guys on tour.
Those timber hunts that's everybody's bucket list, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But so out of all the birds, what's your favorite duck to hunt?
So far.
We were out diver in the split, and I will tell you, I have one that haunts me to this day. I got a gorgeous redhead, just a stud of a redhead. And that one haunts me because I dropped it. And when we went up to, finish that tap on him, one of our buddies in the boat tried to finish him off, and he dove. And we were we searched for that bird. No joke. The whole time we were out there, for probably 8 hours. And every time we'd go out to grab more birds, we'd search for it. And even when we were done and pulling the decoys, soaking wet, it's like I don't know, 17 degrees, raining on it, like a rain snow mix on us. And I was like, let's do one more pass. I got to find that bird. And we never found it. So I think I have like this vendetta against like divers.
Yeah.
So to me, like that's where it's at for me, is that water. We actually have through Michigan Guide Service here in Michigan. My buddy Jeremy, he's a guide here, and he's actually taking us out for a women's hunt for layout boats. And that'll be this October will be my first time in a layout boat. So I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, those divers it's just more fun to me. They're a lot more challenging. They're a lot quicker. I don't know. There's just something about them that gets me.
Yeah. So get used to that, because, well, I don't want to say get used to it. I know for a while I was, but then you start, and Joe can kind of elaborate on this because he's been doing it longer, but you kind of find your tweaks. You'll kind of find what type of shells work the best, chokes, aftermarket chokes and stuff. But I guess while we're talking about that, what is your setup when you're going out waterfowl hunting? I mean, shotgun, you have aftermarket choke. What kind of shot shells are you using?
Well, you all know of the incredible shortage here everywhere. For shells, it's whatever I can find. Honestly, whatever steel shot I can find is what I'm using. It's been very, very, very challenging. I mean, we've drove through states trying to find shells. So that's kind of whatever I can find. I don't really have a preference yet. That fast steel is what I was using for the most part, because that's what I was finding when I went to like Shields or anything like that. But I shoot the SX4 12. It's the 28 barrel and 3.5. I was shooting a Stoker, the M3500 before that. And
yeah, that's what I shoot.
Yeah. Oh, are you just with that one?
No, so I like gas opera. I shoot an SX4, and I
shoot the Stoker.
I was going to say I knew a Jamook that shoots a Stoker. I'm not a fan of inertia operated guns. I'm a big fan of gas operated guns where you don't have to worry about, well, you don't have to be finicky with the guns. When you go bang, they cycle.
Yeah. So actually, that's why I went with the SX4, is because
shoots a Stoker.
What's the put out?
Yeah.
What'd you say? You cut out. What'd you say?
Me or Marie?
No, you, Joe.
Oh, so I know a Jamook that shoots a Stoker.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I was shooting the Stoker when I was in Oklahoma for the Sandhill, and actually my gun locked up on me a few times, and it's because it's at inertia. I weigh 110 pounds, so I don't have enough shoulder behind it for it to recycle. So that was one of my big things, is when it was time for a new gun, I wanted gas. Like, I was very adamant that it had to be gas. So I went with the SX4. I looked at like the Franchi and the Benelli and everything like that. I just, that SX4 is, to me, what shot the best, what I was most comfortable with.
And it's so comfortable. It shoots. It has the best recoil on the market. You can't go wrong with that. It's the lightest shooting, the fastest operating, the most reliable. For me personally, I can't say enough about the pros of the SX4s.
Yeah, I actually shoot the SXP for turkey. If I'm not,
yeah, we just become best friends. That's exactly what I use for turkey. I have an SXP in True Timber.
Yeah, if I'm not using a shotgun for turkey, I use my bow. Actually, this year my goal is to take turkey with my recurve. But that SXP has done me well. The SX4, I think it pulls ahead by far from the SXP. It's a great gun. The biggest thing that I noticed with it, though, is shooting the 3 to the 3.5.
Yeah, there's something to it.
Those 3.5s, especially, like, it's got a lot more kick. It's a lot louder, but it ejects those shells so far and so hard. I actually busted my buddy's nose open with ejecting a shell on the boat. It was
yeah. Some of those turkey loads.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't. My shotgun goes bang, and I'm killing birds, I'm fine until it doesn't go bang no more. But
I mean, shooting
one thing,
birds, he ain't killing, but
yeah, okay. All right, let's but I guess the one thing that I will say that I haven't put my shotgun, I guess, through is freezing temperatures. So obviously you're up in Michigan, it's a little different. Even if you go to certain parts of Oklahoma, I mean, it gets really cold. I'm in the north part of Texas, closer to like the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I'm not far from Oklahoma, but I'm in the southern part of Oklahoma. So I got the shotgun last year. We kind of did a gear review on it. Joe, me, and a buddy of ours, Joe Myers. And we all did a gear review on all the shotguns we had. And I mean, it's lasted me a whole season. I put it through Louisiana, here in Texas, and let's see how it goes in this next season. So, but yeah, I mean, we have a couple buddies. Gilbert shoots the same one, doesn't he? SX4.
Gilbert shoots an XS4. I mean, so like I said, I hunt probably. When I hunt waterfowl, I think this last season I hunted the least amount I've ever hunted past 7-8 years. And I think I hunted roughly around 30 days this season. I have a 6-day season. That's not including teal season. And I've hunted, in 3 different states last year. And we had this conversation, inertia versus gas driven. I hunted 2 guys, man, who hunted a inertia-driven Stoger and an inertia-driven, Weatherby. And both of them ended up having problems during those hunts. I mean, with guys kind of get what did we say? Macho over their shotguns. I'll be the first to tell you, I bring 2 guns to every duck hunt. Because the quickest way to fix a gun is have a backup.
Yes.
I give my gun out to a couple guys, and they're like, "No, it'll work fine. It just needs to get going." Well, bud, when we're killing limits and we're waiting on you to get to getting. But I mean, like you said, there's guys that, I mean, the inertia-driven guns, you have to have a good seated gun. I will say, hunting with you there, Chris, and I don't say that, I don't give you compliments a lot, but I have seen.
Yeah, hey, I'm going to record this, pause this, and I'm going to clip this on TikTok.
Yeah, I mean, there ain't much you do right, but I will say you can shoulder a shotgun.
Yep.
But I mean, so a big question I have for you, Felicia, is we're in a day and age, and like I say this, where, yes, 90s, early 2000s, we were in a day and age where hunting was at a certain demographic, and guys, if you guys listen to our last podcast, the podcast that will come out right before this one, we have Ricky from 24/7 Hunt. Demographics and everything's changing in the world of waterfowl, especially world of waterfowl. And I mean, there's even brands that are catering towards keeping women comfortable in the outdoors. I mean, it's we don't have to be rocket scientists. Women are built different than us when it comes to guns, waders, clothing. Is there any certain brand that you see that that you use that some of these ladies, guys, wives, girlfriends, daughters that are want to get into waterfowl hunting? Is there anything particular brand wise that you use that you think that in the last year or so helps women in the outdoors? If it's waders, clothing, or whatnot.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of brands out there, but unfortunately, none of them to me have pulled ahead for women's. I get a lot of grief for this, but I wear Sitka out duck hunting, out in the field. That's kind of my go-to because it's expensive, but it's worth the money and it keeps me warm. I also, though, I will tell you, I will wear Walmart brand camo. I wear, I wear Cabela's neoprene waders. That duck hunt that I told you guys, it was like 17 degrees and, pouring down rain, snow, sleet on us. I had a pair of 600 neoprene waders on, and I sat for 9 hours on that boat. These guys next to me, they were wearing like 1600s, and I was sitting there in a pair of 600s holding my own. I will tell you, electric hand warmers have become my best friend. But honestly, for waterfowl, I've had a really hard time finding women's gear that's catered to us. Now, big game, turkey hunting, I have my preferred brands, but it's really, really hard and it's difficult because there's no company out there that is catering to everything. They all kind of have their own things, and there's some out there that are pulling ahead from others. But the female Sitka stuff, it's worth it, and it fits good. It fits how it's supposed to fit, and that's, to me, it's worth the money. So cheap ain't good, and good ain't cheap, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been my thing on it. Is if I'm gonna do this, I want to do it and be comfortable. And I'd rather pay for quality than have to spend a whole bunch of money and keep layering up on stuff that I'm not going to be comfortable in.
Yeah, so my first waders I ever bought were actually Cabela's, and they were breathables. And till this day, they're still working. I haven't had any holes in them. The only thing is I do spray them every year with the, I can't even think right now. Yeah. So basically, because it's Gore-Tex, so I kind of just respray them every year. My kids have y'all probably don't know what Academy is, but you come to Texas, you'll know what Academy is. My son he got an Academy one down there. My daughter she also has a Cabela. So I think till these actually go out, I think my next one will probably be, I'm leaning towards Sheen or Sitka, but we'll see. And we'll kind of go from there. But I do agree with you. We know, Joe knows, especially a lot of people use Sitka. I know Down Honor Outdoors, a lot of them use it. And you can't beat the lifetime warranty. Turn it in. If make a hole, you turn it in, and they ship it right back to you. So
yeah, this whole, I don't mess around. I have my own gears that I prefer for turkey, big game, all that. But and don't get me wrong, some of these companies are fantastic. Like, I wear Prois every time I go out in the pheasant field because their gear is catered to that type of hunting. But some of these women companies, they don't really have waterfowl patterns, or they don't have, and don't get me wrong, it doesn't have to be a waterfowl pattern, but in certain situations, I want a certain pattern to be as camouflaged as possible. So I know that these girls can go out there and they can do it not in a wetlands camo or anything like that. But personally, I prefer to be as camouflaged as possible. I will tell you, I wear Nature's Paint every time I'm out, regardless of what I'm hunting. If I need to be camouflaged, it's a women's own company, and it's an all natural face paint. Comes off just as easy as you put it on. And that stuff, I wear that every time I'm out. But as far as clothing, gear, when it comes to waterfowl, I stick with Sitka just because it's cold here and I want to be comfortable.
Yeah. Nature's Paint, I got to check that out, because I know, I don't really, at least I don't really think Joe does it when we're waterfowl hunting much face paint. I know for me, it's just because it kind of gets one of those things like, I don't want to put face paint on no more. Being in the military, it's like every time you're in the field, you just covered in this like, I don't know, kind of like chalk type paint. And it's just
yeah. Well,
this stuff is not chalky at all. It's like, I have buddies that tell me it feels like they're wearing a face mask, like they're like, a woman created this because your skin feels softer when you take it off. But if you want to try it, try it. Nature's Paint is fantastic. naturespaint.org, and they can use my promo code. It's Felicia 15. Their face paint is by far the best I've ever used. Occasionally, I will still use the old cork and a lighter. But for the most part, I have Nature's Paint in my pack everywhere I go, whether it's big game, whether it's waterfowl, turkey hunting, like I always have that on me.
Yeah. So, Joe, what were you gonna say? Did you use paint? Or?
Oh, no, I don't face paint because to me, face paint, it's more like the way you hunt. I know a lot of timber guys will face paint. How I'm hunting out here in the marsh, I'm usually tucked into reeds or in a pit blind or in a layout blind or in an A-frame blind. So, for me, I'm usually hunting in a blind. You see a lot of the timber hunters that are for here, especially down here in the South, they're more of the face painted guys because they're trying to pie face or not.
Well, y'all got that kind of breaks up that face shape.
Yeah.
I don't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we actually made a joke. I don't know who went out with us. Like, oh, you're not gonna put on face. Oh no, it was actually I did a hunt here in Texas, and I was with a couple other veterans, and trying to put on face paint. I was like, I'm not gonna put on face paint. It's like, I don't have fluorescent skin. I'm just gonna put my hat down and my head down and wait for them to call the shot. So
yeah. Well, hey, that's some hunting with me. Hey, down, shut up. Yeah, face down, shut up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to that, I said to each his own the face paint. Like I said, for me, I know as you see a lot of the Arkansas guys more on the face paint with the timber. So I know you're saying you're Felicia, that you're new into the waterfowl. If you had to have one, like this upcoming year, one we'll say a bucket list hunt for waterfowl, where and for what would you want to hunt for?
So actually the Sandhill in Oklahoma was my bucket list last year. So for this next coming season, it snows in Arkansas is what we're chasing. That's my goal. I have my bucket list. It's like
it's gonna keep going.
You don't even know. Like, I am the type of person, once I'm invested, I'm fully invested. I'm gonna be chasing all over the place. Like, I got, Kings on my list. I got Harlequins on my list. Like, I'm not messing around, and I plan to start checking them off. I mean, I'm being realistic about my goals, but I have a lot of hunts through Women of the Wild. So that's part of what we do is we provide opportunities. So we actually schedule hunts. A lot of them are here in like the Northeast area. I know we've looked into doing some kind of along the East Coast, getting out on some sea ducks and stuff like that next year. But to me, that like no plugs, no limits, snow geese is where it's at. I have to do that. That's my bucket list next year. And my bucket list, it's always there. It's just I change it the next season.
Next season, yeah.
My bucket list is insane.
Yeah, and that's and what's crazy about waterfowl is your bucket list is always going to change now. I mean, doing it for a little bit with Joe and then kind of getting into it myself and doing my own hunts now. I don't really have a bucket list, but I have a favorite, and Joe kind of knows just getting in that timber and chasing wood ducks is kind of always been my favorite. I still like going out there. I think the one thing that I haven't really got focused into is divers. A lot of ours have been puddle ducks down in Louisiana.
You've gotten to good diver hunts, bud.
Well, we've gotten divers, but I'm talking about like strictly doing divers on myself. So I have a War Eagle boat, and I think that's what I'm gonna focus on this year. So, but yeah, I will tell you, getting into waterfowl is just gonna change every year, and I mean, you kind of know that. So,
yeah, you come up here, we'll get on some divers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and if you're ever down here in like North Texas or Louisiana, let us know. I mean, we'll kind of get you. Joe will definitely get you on some birds, and we'll get out there. There's a couple spots here.
That timber is something I love to try.
Yeah, well, but what a lot of people don't know is Louisiana now I've been hunting here for almost 5 years now. Louisiana is a big diver state. I'll tell you, if you want to kill a trophy canvasback coming out here to Louisiana, when they get here, they're fully plumed out. They are the picture perfect what people think a canvasback should look like. we get a lot of dogres, which is a French term for graybacks, which are your bluebills. We get a lot of blackjacks, ringnecks. But Louisiana, when people sleep on Louisiana for your diver hunts, where I'd say 70% of the birds I killed out here are diver birds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was my first duck.
Yeah, Louisiana. Your first diver
was a bluebill.
Well, no. Green-winged teal, actually, bud.
No,
it was that bluebill. The green-winged teal I didn't shoot till, because I didn't do the teal season that first season we shot.
The first, remember we hunted 2 days in a row, you shot a green-winged teal, your first bird. I have a picture of it.
I don't know. Sorry, Felicia, we're making this about us.
I'm listening.
He don't know anything. That's why he keeps me around.
Yeah, all right. All right, so it's usually what happens is I usually have like really witty comebacks, but today I've just my mind has been drained with sports and stuff. My kids play softball and stuff, and so I guess before we kind of, because we can keep on going, before we kind of get out of we end the show. Joe, did you have anything for Felicia?
No, not really. I appreciate what you're doing. I'll tell everyone, we need more women in the outdoors. What I've always said for a long time: if mom hunts, the kids are gonna hunt.
Absolutely.
And I'll tell you this. Chris knows my two boys they're sick for it. If you take your kids hunting, you won't be hunting for your kids.
Mm-hmm.
It's good, in this day and age, it's a good way to, for me, hunting's a family bond that you can't break. And children and women, but people don't realize they're the future of the sport. And like I said, I have a niece, and I don't know for the viewers that haven't caught on yet, I have a new one coming. We don't know if it's a boy or a girl. People keep asking us, but at the end of the day, to me, it don't matter.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is the different color of lanyard it might be. It might be a pink lanyard. Or it might be a pink 410 or a stumpafflage 410. But in the Spears household, you're duck hunting. That's just what happens. But yeah, I think it's a great thing that you're doing, and we have to keep expanding the sport for it to survive.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, I got two boys, and I joke all the time that my boys are like these crazy feral kids, but they are 100% outdoorsmen. Every chance they get, they're out there. My oldest sat out in the tree stand with me in 20-degree weather with 3 inches of snow pouring up on top of us, and just waiting for his chance at a whitetail. Like he just, my youngest, he's 8 years old. We call him my bird dog. Like they're just so invested in the outdoors. We don't buy meat at the grocery store. So every meal that we eat, if there's protein involved in it, it's something that mom has harvested.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's just how we live our life. And it's became a priority for my kids to learn how to do it. So they're helping provide a meal on the table too. It's that self-sustainability. It's really important to have that in this day.
Yes, it definitely is.
Yes. And I guess before we go, I kind of want to see how can people, if they want to, women, men, whoever wants to reach out to you, how can they get a hold of you? What is the social media platform that you're, I guess, I know you have a couple. I know you deal with different organizations. How can they reach Felicia?
Yeah, so to reach me, they can reach me through Facebook. I have a private page, Felicia Marie, but I also have a public page. So I would always direct people to my public page, Felicia Marie. But I also have Instagram, which it's Felicia_Marie_wild_endeavors. It's a mouthful, but either of those platforms are great to get a hold of me. They can also find us at Women of the Wild or www.womenofthewild.net, and they can email us right through that page, womenofthewildoutdoors@gmail.com, if they want to get a hold of us. Our main focus is women, but yeah, I deal with so many organizations to get veterans out. So if veterans want to reach out, you know, you guys said that you guys are veterans, and I want to thank you for your service, because being able to help serve the men and women that have served our country, it's an absolute honor to be able to do things for you guys. And we offer a lot of events for that. Like, it's just incredible to be able to outsource and help so many people. We're actually doing a turkey hunt for veterans in Maryland here in May. And knowing what that does for these veterans has been incredible. So if there's any veterans that want to get out, if there's anyone looking for youth programs, I kind of do it all because it's my lifestyle. This is my passion. So anyone that wants to get out and get in the outdoors, I would absolutely encourage you to get a hold of me, because if I'm not the person, I can find the person to get you out there.
Yeah, and that's amazing. Only because, and I kind of said it earlier, you know, I have two daughters, and showing pictures of women like you in the outdoors doing it, just doing what, you know, that you don't really see a lot of women doing, it kind of inspires them, with it be duck calling, bow hunting, or whatever it may be. So, and they love going out with dad and going fishing, and one prefers fishing over waterfowl, but I think it's just the age gap, because one is 6 or 7, and the other one is 13, 14. So, but I guess we'll go ahead and end it like this. Like always, I want to thank Bow and Honor Outdoors for what they do for our service members, first responders, and veterans. I want to thank Felicia very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. Like I said, if you're ever in Texas, you're ever in Louisiana, reach out to us. You know, we'll definitely take you out going to hunt. And if you ever want to know anything about anything when it comes to waterfowl, you know, again, I'm not an expert, but and Joe thinks he's an expert, but but the guy Joe knows what he's talking about, and Joe knows a lot of people in the waterfowl community, and because of that, I've been blessed to get to know these people and kind of pick their brain a little bit. So it's kind of helped me a whole lot. So we definitely got to get you on another show, and like always, y'all have a good one, and let Valor not fail.